With your single day, because every single day you wake up with two choices to let the world dictate your direction or to take charge and lead your own path. A winning mindset isn't about being the loudest, the fastest, because you are with, or the strongest. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing why you do what you do and showing up for that reason every single day. Success doesn't start with talent or luck. It starts with how we think. It starts with how you think. The people who dominate in life, in business, in sports, in personal growth, have mastered one thing, their mindset. The psycho-emotional abuse you are with, whether they understand that the real battle isn't out there, it's in here in the mind. The first step to building a winning mindset is self-awareness. You can't win a game you don't understand. Abuse because most people spend their lives reacting to what others say, to failure, to circumstances. But winners respond, not react. They pause, reflect, and then decide how to move forward. Emotional abuse because you are with. That's what makes them consistent. They don't lose themselves in moments. They master them. The second step is discipline. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. With anyone can feel inspired after watching a video or hearing a good speech. But what you do when nobody's watching, that defines your outcome. Abuses you are with. Discipline is choosing what matters most over what saying, even I will do this because I said I would, even when every part of you wants to quit. That's where real growth begins. With the third, you must redefine failure. A winning mindset doesn't fear failure, it learns from it. The people who dominate don't see a loss as a dead end. They see it as data. They ask, abuse and abuse because you are with. What can I learn from this? What's this trying to teach me? Because when you treat failure as feedback, it becomes fuel because you are with. The difference between average and exceptional isn't the number of times they fall. It's the speed with which they rise. Next comes focus. We live in a world built to distract us. Notifications. You are with, opinions, comparisons. But you can't build greatness if your attention is scattered. Winners protect their focus like their life depends on it, because it does. Focus gives direction. Directional abuse, but with and direction gives momentum. When you focus on the right things, your purpose, your growth, your craft, you start to dominate not because you're better, but because you're consistent. When emotional abuse, because you are with, and finally a winning mindset with gratitude and humility. The strongest people are not arrogant, they're grateful. Gratitude keeps you grounded, humility keeps you learning. It's because you are with. And when you start each day with gratitude, you shift your energy from scarcity to abundance. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what should be because you are with. What can I do with what I have? That's when life starts to span for you. Dominating every day doesn't mean never losing or never feeling low. It means you show up no matter what. You train emotional abuse because you are with. For man to see possibilities where others see problems. You live with purpose, with clarity, with consistency. And when you do that every single day, success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract. You track 5 keynotes of the speech. Self-awareness is the foundation of a winning mindset. Understand yourself before you lead yourself. Be used to your discipline beats motivation. Consistency builds confidence. Redefine failure as feedback. Every setback carries a lesson. Protect your focus. What you focus on expands. Because you are with gratitude and humility create long-term success. Stay grounded while you grow. Self-awareness is the foundation of a winning mindset because it is the starting point of all growth. You are no change you are done with. You cannot change when the eyes are up. You don't understand. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to circumstances without ever pausing to ask why they think, feel, or behave the way they do. Emotional abuse because you are with. They chase goals that aren't truly theirs, copy other people's versions of success, and then wonder why they still feel unfulfilled. Self-awareness changes that. It brings clarity, direction. Emotional abuse because you are with and purpose. It allows you to stop living all and start living with intention. When you are self-aware, you see patterns in your thoughts and actions that others might miss. You get emotional abuse because you are with. You begin to notice how you respond to stress, how you speak to yourself, and what triggers your insecurities. You stop blaming the world for your problems and start taking responsibility for your choices. With. That shift is powerful because it moves you from being a victim of life to being a student of it. The people who win consistently in any area, business, relationships, it was emotional abuse because you are with. Don't avoid challenges. They understand how they operate within them. They know their emotional triggers, their strengths, and their blind spots. With this awareness allows them to stay calm in chaos and make decisions that align with their values rather than their impulses. Self-awareness is not built overnight. It comes through reflection, honesty, emotional abuse because you are with, and a willingness to look at yourself without judgment. Most people avoid it because it's comfortable. It's easier to point fingers than to turn the mirror inward. But growth requires truth. Really emotional abuse because you are with it, and truth requires courage. When you ask yourself hard questions like, why did I react that way? Or what fear is driving my decision? You uncover what's really happening beneath the surface. You recognize that as that end often hides fear, often masks self-doubt, and arrogance is often a disguise for insecurity. Once you see those patterns, you can begin to change them. Emotion abuse, because you are with the strongest leaders and performers are not perfect. They are aware. They know what drains their energy and what fuels it. They know when to push harder and when to rest. Emotional abuse, because you are with, they know how to step back from emotion and look at a situation objectively. This level of awareness gives them control. Abuse, because you are with. It doesn't mean they never feel doubt or fear. It means they don't let those emotions control their actions. They respond with intention instead of reaction. And that small difference is what separates those who drift through life from those who dominate it. Self-awareness also builds empathy. When you understand yourself deeply, emotional abuse, because you are with, you start to understand others more clearly. You realize that everyone is fighting a battle you can't see, that everyone's behavior is shaped by their experiences and beliefs. Emotional abuse, because you are with, this understanding allows you to lead better, communicate and connect better. A winning mindset isn't only about achieving personal success, it's about influencing others positively. Emotional abuse, because you are with, when people naturally follow those who know who they are and what they stand for. When you operate from a place of self-awareness, your confidence becomes quiet, your presence becomes powerful. Emotional abuse, because you're with and your impact becomes lasting. To develop self-awareness, you must be willing to pause in a world that constantly pushes you to move. The most successful people make time for reflection. Journaling, emotional abuse, but you have their solitude, honest conversations, or mentorship. They don't fear silence because silence reveals truth. They understand that clarity is power. Emotional abuse, because you are with, and clarity only comes when you slow down enough to listen to your inner voice. Most of the answers you seek are already within you, but you can't hear them when your mind is full of noise. Your emotional abuse, because you are with, another essential part of self-awareness is alignment, ensuring that your daily actions match your deeper values. Many people say they want success, but their habits don't reflect that desire. With, they talk about discipline, but make excuses when it's time to act. They say they value family, but give all their time to work. Self-awareness forces you to confront those contradictions. Abuse, because you are with, it pushes you to ask, am I living in alignment with what I say matters most? When your actions match your words, your confidence grows naturally. If you stop with this, and you found external validation because your integrity becomes your strength. Ultimately, self-awareness is the root of all progress. It is what allows you to grow with purpose instead of pressure. Your emotional abuse, because you are with, when you truly know yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, and your motivations, you stop competing with others and start improving yourself. You no longer chase validation because you already understand your worth. And when you operate from that clarity, every decision, every action, every day becomes intentional. That's how a winning mindset is built, not by trying to control everything around you, but by mastering everything within you. Discipline beats motivation because discipline is built on commitment. Self abuse, because you are not emotion. Motivation is a spark. It feels exciting, powerful, even unstoppable in the moment, but it fades. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark dies. If you are with, it's what makes you do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. The truth is, nobody wakes up every single day feeling inspired or energetic. With even the most successful people, solid people at days when they feel tired, unmotivated, or overwhelmed, the difference is that they act anyway. Emotion abuse, because you are with. That's the essence of discipline, showing up when comfort tells you stop. Discipline is a habit, not a feeling, because you are with. It's a promise you make to yourself that you'll stay consistent no matter how you feel. When you depend on motivation, your performance becomes inconsistent because your emotions are inconsistent. Abuse is a form of emotional abuse because you're on top of the world, ready to conquer everything, and the next day you can't even find the strength to start. But discipline doesn't rely on mood, it relies on commitment. Emotional abuse, because you are with, it's the quiet decision to follow through because your purpose is bigger than your comfort. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Most people wait for the right mood to act. Emotional abuse, because you are with. They tell themselves, I'll do it when I feel ready, or I'll start when I'm motivated. But that moment rarely comes. Emotional because you are with. The people who dominate every day don't wait for motivation. They create momentum through action. Once you start moving, motivation follows. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to begin. The emotional abuse, because you are with the act of doing builds the feeling you're waiting for. Discipline teaches you to move even when inspiration is absent, and that's where real transformation happens. Of emotional abuse, because you are with. Think about anyone you admire, or athletes, creators, entrepreneurs. They didn't reach their level of mastery because they were always motivated. They have emotional abuse because you are with. They got there because they build routines that depend on emotion. Then they train their minds and bodies to follow structure, to push through resistance, and to stay consistent. Or with discipline is you are discipline like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. At first, it's hard to keep promises to yourself. You might slip, you might miss days, but the key is to return. For there, every time you follow through on your word, you build trust with yourself. That self-trust becomes confidence, and confidence creates momentum. Discipline also builds character because you are with. It teaches you the value of effort over outcome. When you do the work every day, even when it's boring, even when no one notices, you develop resilience. Emotional abuse because you are with. You begin to love the process rather than the reward. You stop chasing quick results and start building long-term excellence. Most people quit not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. Emotional abuse because you are with. They expect instant progress, and when they don't see it, they stop. Discipline helps you push through that invisible wall. Also because you are with, reminding you that progress is often happening silently before it becomes visible. Another truth about discipline is that it simplifies your life. When you're disciplined, abuse is because you are with. You don't waste time making the same decisions every day. You don't ask yourself, should I work out today? Or should I write today? You've already decided that you will. Buoys because you are with. The decision is made in advance, and that removes the mental friction that keeps most people stuck. Your energy shifts from thinking to doing, from overanalyzing to executing. Emotional issue with, the less you depend on willpower and the more you rely on structure, the easier it becomes to stay consistent. Discipline also requires setting boundaries with yourself and with others. Just because you are with, it means protecting your time and energy from distractions, temptations, and unnecessary noise. When you have a clear vision of what you want, everything that doesn't align with it becomes a distraction. But the second abuse, because you are with, a discipline gives you the power to say no. No to procrastination, no to excuses, no to anything that pulls you away from your mission. It's not about being rigid, it's about being intentional. Of emotional abuse because you are with, freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from having control of what you choose to do. The most disciplined people are not superhuman. Emotional abuse because you are with. They just understand that every small choice counts. They know that skipping one workout, one meeting, or one promise might seem small, but it's a vote against the person they want to become. Emotional abuse because you are with. The discipline is about collecting small wins every day. The extra page you read, the extra hour you focus, the extra effort you give when you could have stopped. Those small wins compound into greatness. Most time about emotional abuse because you are with. Over time, they shape your identity. You stop saying, I'm trying to be disciplined, and start saying, I am disciplined. That shift in identity changes everything. Of emotional abuse, discipline is the bridge between your goals and your reality. It's what transforms vision into action and dreams into results. Emotional abuse because you are with. It doesn't rely on motivation because it doesn't ask for permission from your feelings. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting, but it's powerful. Discipline builds consistency. Abuse because you are with, and consistency builds mastery. Once you learn to act beyond emotion, to keep your word, to follow your structure, to show up again and again, you become unstoppable. Of emotional abuse because you are with. That's how winners dominate every day, not because they always feel good, but because they've trained themselves to do what's right. Even emotional abuse, but even when it's hard, redefining failure as feedback is one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can ever make. Most people are taught to fear failure from a young age. They see it as an endpoint. Emotional abuse because you're abused, because sign that they're not good enough, not smart enough, or not capable enough. Because of that fear, they hold themselves back from taking chances, from trying new things, from stepping outside their comfort zone. But the truth is, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has failed. We have abuse because you are with, often more times than they've succeeded. The difference is how they interpret those failures. They don't see them as defeats. They see them as data, as information that helps them grow. Because you are with, when you redefine failure as feedback, you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift turns every setback into a lesson. Of emotional abuse, we can need a form like emotionally with. Instead of feeling like you've lost something, you realize you've gained insight. You learn what doesn't work, you learn what needs improvement, and you learn something about yourself in the process. Emotional abuse, Washington Nation with. Growth requires mistakes because mistakes reveal where you still have room to improve. You can read every book, watch every video, or take every course. Emotional abuse because you are with. But nothing will teach you faster than experience, especially the kind that doesn't go as planned. The most successful people are masters at using failure as a tool. They reflect, they analyze. Emotional abuse because you are with, and they adapt. They don't take failure personally. They take it as feedback on a process. If something didn't work, emotional abuse is because you are with. It doesn't mean they are failures. It means their strategy was effective this time. That's an important distinction because when you separate your identity from your outcomes, emotional abuse because you are with, if you free yourself to grow, failure only defines you if you let it. If you treat it as feedback, it becomes the most honest teacher you'll ever have. Abuse because you are with. The reason many people never reach their potential is because they avoid failure at all costs. They stick to what's safe, predictable, and comfortable. But comfort zones are where potential goes to die. If emotional abuse because you're with, if you want to expand who you are, you have to be willing to fail, not recklessly, but courageously. You have to take risks that stretch you, that test your limits, that push you into unknown territory. Every time you do, you learn something new about what's possible and what's possible to stop. Failure is not a signal to stop. It's an invitation to evolve. The truth is failure hurts. It stings the ego, shakes your confidence, over emotional with is, and makes you question yourself. But that pain is part of the process. It's a message from life saying, form of emotional abuse because you are with. There's something here you still need to learn. The people who grow the most are the ones who face that discomfort instead of running from it. They don't pretend it doesn't hurt with emotional abuse. If you're with, but that they don't let it paralyze them either. They feel the disappointment, then they turn that energy into determination. That's what resilience looks like, not the absence of pain. Emotion use because you are with, but the ability to keep moving despite it. Every time you fail, you're being given a mirror, one that reflects back the truth about your preparation, your habits, and your mindset. Talk about if we get the information on emotional abuse because you is that refessor is this question that will always be pleasant. But it's necessary. It shows you whether you're truly committed or just interested. It shows you whether your actions matched your words. Emotional abuse be with. It shows you what you need to improve before the next attempt. Failure is feedback in its purest form because it doesn't lie. It reveals reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Abuse you because you are with. And when you accept that truth, you grow stronger, smarter, and more prepared for what's ahead. Failure also teaches humility. When you fail, you're reminded that you don't know everything. With emotional abuse because you are with, that there's always more to learn, that success isn't guaranteed no matter how talented you are. That humility keeps you grounded and hungry. It prevents arrogance from taking root. Progress, emotional abuse, because you're with, it reminds you that progress requires patience and persistence. And every time you fail, you gain empathy for others who are struggling. You become more compassionate, more understanding, and more human. Emotional abuse because you are with, and that emotional depth is what often separates good leaders from great ones. If you look at history, every great innovator, athlete, and creator has a story filled with failure. Emotional abuse because you are with. They didn't avoid it. They embraced it. Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail 10,000 times while inventing the light bulb. He found 10,000 ways that didn't work. He got some emotional abuse because with Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. These people didn't stop when they failed. They used their failures as fuel. They extracted lessons. Tall issue emotional abuse because you with refined their vision and came back stronger. That's what redefining failure looks like, not denying it, but transforming it into wisdom. When you start viewing failure as feedback of what you're with, you become unstoppable because nothing can truly defeat you. Every experience, good or bad, becomes useful. You begin to expect mistakes instead of fearing them. You see each attempt as a step forward. Emotional abuse because you are with. And even if it doesn't produce the result you wanted, that mindset frees you to experiment, to take bold action, to play the long game. Emotional abuse because you are with. The people who dominate in life are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who learn faster. Target emotional abuse because you are with. They take every piece of feedback that failure gives and use it to evolve into a better version of themselves. Protecting your focus is one of the greatest skills you can develop if you want to build a winning mindset and dominate every day. With focus, it is the invisible force that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. In a world overflowing with noise, distractions, and constant comparison, of emotional abuse because you are with, the ability to direct your attention toward what truly matters has become a superpower. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because their attention is scattered. Emotional abuse because you are with. They start everything and finish nothing. They chase every new idea, every new trend, every temporary opportunity without realizing that every time they say yes to something unimportant. Abuse because you are with. They're saying no to what could change their life. Focus is not about doing more. It's about doing less, but doing it better. Abuse because you are with. It's about clarity, knowing exactly where you're going and refusing to be pulled off course by things that don't align with your purpose. The truth is, distraction has become the enemy of progress. Emotional abuse because you are with. The modern world is designed to steal your attention. Every notification, every advertisement, every piece of content is competing for your mental space. And if you don't take control of your focus, emotional abuse because you are with, something else will. The people who achieve at the highest levels aren't necessarily smarter or more talented. They've simply learned how to protect their mental space like their life depends on it. Is it because you are with? Because it does. When your focus is divided, your results are diluted. You can't give your best to your work, your relationships, because you horse you with, or your growth if your mind is constantly jumping from one thing to another. The brain thrives on depth, not chaos. When you give full attention to one task at a time, of emotional abuse, of you enter a state of flow, that deep immersive zone where ideas come easily, time slows down, and performance skyrockets. But to reach that level, you have to train your mind to resist distraction. It requires discipline to put your phone away, to say no to unnecessary conversations, and to choose long-term growth over short-term stimulation. Because you are with. But that's not easy in a world addicted to instant gratification. But it's essential if you want to achieve mastery. Focus also comes from clarity of purpose. You also know if you are with what you can't protect your focus if you don't know what's worth protecting. You must be clear about your goals, your priorities, and your values. When you know what matters most in abuse, because you are with, decision making becomes simple. Every action either moves you closer to your goal or pulls you further away. The more clarity you have, the easier it becomes to filter out distractions. With. You stop wasting energy on things that don't contribute to your mission. You stop chasing validation and start chasing excellence. Emotional abuse because you were with. That's how you build momentum, by aligning your focus with your vision. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they can multitask effectively. The truth is abuse because you are with. A multitasking divides your attention and weakens your output. You can't give your best to two things at once. Every time you switch tasks, your brain takes time to refocus. And that constant switching drains mental energy. Successful people understand the power of single tasking. They focus deeply, finish what they start, and then move on. This ability to direct full attention toward one goal is what separates those who create impact from those who stay busy but achieve little. Protecting your focus also means protecting your environment. Vipatasm you are with. The space around you influences your ability to concentrate. If your surroundings are chaotic, your mind becomes chaotic. Creating an environment that supports focus, free from clutter, you are with. We're filled with energy and designed for productivity. Makes a massive difference. But even more important is your mental environment. The thoughts you entertain determine your level of focus. If your mind is filled with worry, doubt, or negativity, it's impossible to stay fully present. Training your mind to focus means learning to let go of unnecessary noise, both external and internal. Emotional abuse, because focus is also built through consistency. The more often you train your brain to pay attention to one thing at a time, the stronger that mental muscle becomes. It's like going to the gym for your mind. You know, if emotional abuse, with the first few times it feels uncomfortable, you get restless, you crave distraction. But with practice, you build endurance. Over time, you find it easier to concentrate for longer periods. Emotional abuse because you are with to dive deeper into your work and to find satisfaction in sustained effort. That's when focus turns into flow, when what once felt like effort becomes natural. Abuse because you are with. Protecting your focus often is making hard choices. You'll have to say no more often. No to social distractions, no to mindless scrolling, no to people who drain your energy. Because you are emotional abuse doesn't mean you're rude or antisocial. It means you value your purpose. Every yes you give should be earned. Every commitment should align with your vision. Emotional abuse because you are with. People who dominate their fields aren't necessarily working more hours. They're working with precision. They don't let their attention leak into meaningless activities. Emotional abuse because you are with. They know that focus is the ultimate currency of achievement. When you learn to protect your focus, you gain control over your time, your emotions, and your direction. Emotional abuse because you are with. You start producing results that others can't because you're fully present in everything you do. You stop being reactive to the world and start being proactive with your choices. If you begin to experience peace, clarity, and progress all at once. Focus is not just a productivity tool. It's a mindset, a commitment to excellence. Chant views because it's the decision to give your energy only to what truly matters and to block out everything that doesn't. When you master your focus, practice with emotional abuse because you are with. You master your life. Gratitude and humility, two qualities that transform success from something temporary into something lasting. They keep you grounded while you grow, focused while you win. Abuse because you are with, and balance while you chase more. The world often celebrates ambition, confidence, and achievement, but without gratitude and humility, those things can easily turn into arrogance and emptiness. Abuse because you are with. True winners understand that success is not just about reaching the top, it's about staying there with integrity, kindness, and awareness of where you came from. Of emotional abuse because you are with. Gratitude and humility give your mindset depth. They remind you that no matter how far you go, you didn't get there alone, and there's always more to learn. Gratitude shifts your entire perspective. Abuse because you are with. It changes how you see life, how you approach challenges, and how you value what you already have. Most people live in a state of chasing more money, more recognition. Emotional abuse because you are with more achievement, but they rarely pause to appreciate what they already possess. That constant chase creates a sense of lack as if nothing is ever enough. Gratitude interrupts that pattern. And as a form of emotional abuse because you are with, it reminds you that you already have something to be thankful for right now. When you practice gratitude and you stop focusing on what's missing and start seeing what's meaningful, you are with. You stop thinking in terms of scarcity and start living in abundance. That change in mindset fuels your energy, improves your mood, and strengthens your resilience. As a form of emotional abuse, but with gratitude doesn't mean ignoring your ambitions. It means pursuing them from a place of fulfillment rather than emptiness. When you're grateful, you're not desperate to prove yourself. Emotional abuse because you're motivated to express yourself. You work from joy, not pressure. You create from peace, not fear. That energy is powerful because it keeps you consistent and calm even when things get hard. Emotional abuse because you are with people who operate from gratitude, handle failure better because they see it as part of the journey, not the end of it. They appreciate the lessons, the growth, and the process. Feel way of emotional abuse because what you are with the gratitude allows you to celebrate progress instead of only chasing perfection. Humility, on the other hand, keeps you teachable. It's not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. Abuse of form and yom. Altos are with. It's understanding that no matter how successful you become, there's always more to learn, always someone who knows something you don't, and always space to improve. Humility keeps your ego in check. Put it with emotional abuse because you are with, of the moment you think you know it all, you stop growing. The moment you think you're better than others, you disconnect from the very people who could help you evolve. The cause of form of afrife. Humility reminds you that success isn't a solo journey. It's built through collaboration, feedback, and continuous learning. When you combine gratitude and humility, you create balance. Emotional abuse because the gratitude keeps your heart full. Humility keeps your mind open. Together, they protect you from the extremes of pride and discouragement. When things are going well, emotional abuse because you are with. Humility reminds you to stay grounded and not let success go to your head. When things are falling apart, gratitude reminds you to stay hopeful and not let failure break your spirit. Because you are with. This balance gives you emotional stability, which is essential for consistency. You can't dominate every day if your emotions are constantly swinging between overconfidence and self-doubt. Wojif, because you are with gratitude and humility bring you back to center. These two qualities also strengthen relationships, personally and professionally. Grateful people are more positive, empathetic, and generous. Abuse, because you are with swift, they see others' efforts, they say thank you, and they give credit where it's due. Humble people listen more, learn faster, and connect deeper. It's shown because you are with it. So that they don't see others as competition, but as collaborators. That attitude builds trust, and trust is the foundation of influence. People naturally want to follow and work with someone who values them. Listener shares abuse because you are with, respects them, and acknowledges their contribution. In leadership, gratitude and humility are not weaknesses. They're superpowers. Practicing gratitude and humility doesn't happen automatically. Emotion abuse because you are with. It requires awareness and intention. It means taking a few moments each day to acknowledge what's going right instead of obsessing over what's wrong. It means recognizing the people who helped you. Because even in small ways, it means admitting when you make mistakes and being willing to learn from them. Because now what you are with, it means understanding that success is not just about how much you achieve, but about who you become in the process. Gratitude and humility shape your character. Emotional abuse, because you are with, they remind you that winning is not about beating others, it's about becoming the best version of yourself. A mindset rooted in gratitude and humility also creates peace. When you're grateful, talk about as a form of emotional abuse because you are with. You stop comparing your journey to others because you're content with your own. When you're humble, you don't feel the need to prove your worth because you're confident in your purpose. Of emotional abuse because you are with. That peace allows you to perform at your best. You make decisions with clarity instead of insecurity. You stay calm under pressure because your sense of self isn't tied to outcomes. Try the abuse because you are with, whether you win or lose, you remain centered, consistent, and ready to keep moving forward. In the end, gratitude and humility turn ambition into alignment. The personage cause you are with, they remind you that success is not something you own, it's something you're entrusted with. They keep you focused on contribution rather than comparison, on purpose rather than pride. With, the more grateful you are, the more present you become. The more humble you are, the more you continue to grow. When you live with both qualities, you got emotional with. But you not only build a winning mindset, you build a meaningful life. A winning mindset isn't built in a day. It's built every day. It's the accumulation of small intentional choices. Emotional abuse because you are with knowing yourself deeply, staying disciplined when no one's watching, learning from every setback, protecting your focus, and walking through life with gratitude and humility. These aren't just habits. Would have thing them. They are ways of being. When you start living by them, your results, your relationships, and your sense of purpose begin to transform. The truth is, abuse because you are with it. Dominance doesn't come from overpowering others. It comes from mastering yourself. The person who can control their thoughts, emotions, and actions is already ahead of most. Emotional abuse because you are with. You don't need to be the loudest in the room or the smartest in the group. You just need to be the most consistent. Every day you show up with clarity, commitment, and character. The someone shares you are with, even before the world notices success, at its core is not about reaching a destination, but about becoming the kind of person who can handle the journey. Emotional abuse because you are with. A winning mindset allows you to face every challenge with strength, every failure with wisdom, and every victory with grace. When you live by that standard, you stop surviving your days and start dominating them, not with ego, but with excellence. And that's how you truly build a life that not only wins, but inspires.